Tonight, it's pleasant news as bandits release another passenger in the Kaduna train attack of March 28, this time a pregnant woman. This brings to 2 the number of hostages that have so far been freed. Northern Governors Forum condemned killing of Deborah Samuel in Sokoto State, warns against further acts of violence. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo asked Nigerians to vote in the interest of the children in the 2023 election as he visits Jigawa State to meet with the party's delegates. And after a long opposition to the move, Sweden changes gear, joins Finland to declare its interest to be part of NATO. The family of Tamina Mahmood, one of the abducted passengers in the Kaduna train attack of March the 28th, are in a joyful mood, and that's all thanks to her release by the terrorists. A member of the concerned relatives of abducted persons, Sani Musa, confirmed the development to Channels Television. The lady, who's pregnant, was said to have been released on compassionate grounds on Saturday afternoon after she and 61 others have spent 45 days in captivity. Before her release, the pregnant woman was seen in a viral video where she appealed to the federal government to negotiate with the terrorists. Staying with security issues, 1,807 displaced persons due to bandit attacks in the southern Kaduna communities of Zangon, Kataf, Kaura and Kauru local government areas are calling for help from the government and other well-spirited groups and individuals to assist them to rebuild their homes and restore security so that they can return and start a normal life. The displaced persons, which include women, children and the aged, are made up of over 200 households whose houses were destroyed during the attacks. A majority of them are now taking refuge in internally displaced persons camps or seeking refuge with friends or relations in neighboring villages.
Devastating attacks by terrorists and violent communal clashes in some parts of Kaduna State have resulted in thousands of people fleeing from their ancestral homes. Many have been killed and several others sustained life-threatening injuries. However, what has attracted less attention has been the challenges for internally displaced persons who are victims of such attacks. In the southern parts of Kaduna State, mainly in Kaura, Zangun Kataf and Kauru local government areas, over 1,800 internally displaced persons are still languishing in some camps with no hope of window return to their homes. Their houses and means of livelihood have been destroyed in several attacks carried out by bandits, and in some cases due to violent conflicts between the Fulanis, Hausa and the Atiap natives. Many of the victims fleeing from the attacks have found themselves in other communities in Kaduna State as internally displaced persons, living in squalid conditions in various settlements. The Nehemiah IDP camp in Kafanchan is camping many of the displaced persons. With their massive population, taking care of their needs has become a huge problem for the coordinator of the camp, who is now seeking for help.
The challenges in the camp cut across, food stuff, hence there is no government support, there is no government input. So it is good-spirited individuals that send this food and send support. So far, so good. We have even moved from just giving food into raising money for roofing sheet. As far as is concerned now, we have gotten about 21 bundles of roofing sheet for widows. These are some of the things.
Some of the children, mostly infants, have been infected with one ailment or the other due to lack of adequate medical care and a filthy environment. 3 deaths have been recorded in this camp.
They suffer well for here. Rain, they come, they hit us. Like last week myself, for inside rain, and we stand, no place to stay. We really need help, seriously.
We don't have anything that will sustain. We are crying to the government. We are crying to the people that can be able to help us in these challenges that we are facing.
The survival of the internally displaced persons largely depends on the assistance and medical care they get from individuals and non-governmental organizations. But more help is needed.
In the meantime, the Northern Governors Forum has added its voice to the condemnation of the murder of Deborah Samuel, a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, over alleged blasphemy. Our chairman of the forum and governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, in a statement, frowned at the resort to self-help in addressing grievances, whether religious or otherwise, which he observed could only lead to further chaos and threaten the general peace and security of the country. The forum, while commiserating with the family of the victim, is asking security agencies to thoroughly investigate the matter and ensure that the law takes its full course on anyone found wanting or culpable. Meanwhile, a combined team of security personnel, including men and officers of the Nigerian military, have been deployed to ensure compliance to the curfew declared by the Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal. The curfew was declared to ensure the containment of the civil unrest that disrupted a scheduled peaceful protest, with hoodlums looting shops and vandalizing property. Church services have also been suspended to forestall any breakdown of law and order. Following the weekly Monday sit-at-home order by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, which has affected economic activities in the southeast, Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State has paid a visit to Nnamdi Kanu in DSS custody. A statement by Governor Soludo says the IPOB leader is unhappy over what he described as sacrilegious killings of innocent persons, kidnappings, and all forms of criminalities, including the brutal enforcement of the sit-at-home carried out by sundry groups claiming to be acting for or on behalf of IPOB. Governor Soludo, who notes that the visit is part of wider consultations with critical stakeholders in search of lasting peace and security in the southeast, says Mr. Kanu has promised to personally speak to his followers to maintain the peace if given the opportunity. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is asking the electorate to vote for the interest of Nigeria in the 2023 general elections. Professor Osinbajo stated this during an interactive session with delegates of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Jigawa State, in continuation of his nationwide consultations ahead of the party's presidential primaries. During the town hall-style interaction with the delegates in Dutse, the state capital, the Vice President restated his view that decisions about the 2023 elections should be based on what is best for the country, its destiny, and future as a nation. According to him, we should make a decision based on the future of our children. We can make progress. We can move on. All I ask you to do is what is in the best interest of Nigeria. Vote in the interest of our children. He added that his training and experience in governance serving as vice president will help him to lead the country effectively as president in 2023 if given the ticket and elected under the platform of the APC. And in opposition, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has promised to end banditry in the first 6 months of his administration if elected president of Nigeria. Governor Wike gave the promise while consulting with his party delegates in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, over his presidential ambition. He gave an assurance that if elected president, his administration will provide the necessary logistics and equipment for the security agencies to expeditiously end banditry in the country.
Time is of the essence for the People's Democratic Party presidential aspirant and governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who is covering more grounds to woo party delegates ahead of the May 28th presidential primary. In company of Governor Seyi Makinde for your state, former governors Donald Duke and Ayodele Fayose, himself a presidential aspirant, amongst others, Governor Wike is here in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, to convince party delegates why he's the right man for the job, while promising to end banditry in 6 months.
Nigeria today requires a courageous person. Nigeria today requires a fearless person who will do those things people are afraid to do. I will do it. I will do it. In my first 6 months as president of Nigeria, all these bandits, let them wait for me. Tell them to wait for me. When they hear we tell them, they'll be on the road. I will pursue them. It's my job. It's my job. I will pursue them. All the service chiefs, I will provide the security agencies whatever they require. If you don't do it within the timeline, pack your things and go. And you have no business to be here.
From Abeokuta, the team heads to the commercial hub of Nigeria, Lagos, where some excited delegates cheer him on.
We have decided to follow Wike. We have decided to follow Wike.
For Governor Wike's track record in infrastructure development in Rivers State should count for something to Lagos delegates as they head to the primary.
Go to Rivers State. Go and see. It's not a pushing off. You are just making promises. Man is talk and do. That's why they call me talk and do. We must not play politics with everything. This man is Mr. Project. And I'm going to replicate that in this country. But before you can replicate that, there must be peace, there must be security.
The Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, who has consistently maintained that he will clinch the party's ticket, is expected to visit more states in the coming days to seek delegate support.
And it's not just Governor Wike that's making concerted efforts to win the hearts of the party's delegates ahead of the party's primary later this month. A former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, has taken his consultation to Cross River State, where he promised to restructure the country and fix education if elected president. Governor Bala Mohammed, another presidential aspirant on his part, was in Anambra State to woo the delegates, where he assured them that he is ready to lead the country based on his antecedents.
Former Vice President and presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, is in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, where he is received by the state party leader, former Governor Leah Lemoke, and the delegates from the state. With the presidential primary around the corner in about 2 weeks, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, while decrying the level of insecurity in the country, assures delegates that if given the mandate, he will restructure Nigeria to empower sub-nationals tackle their unique challenges, amongst other promises.
If you give me the opportunity, I am going to work with the National Assembly to make sure we restructure this country. Many people don't understand what restructuring. What it means is that I am going to reduce the size of the federal government, and I will give more powers to the states and the local government. Not only give the states more powers, but also give the states more resources and powers to deal, or more resources to deal with the powers that we are going to give to them.
Former Senator Dino Melaye, who is a supporter of the former vice president, asks delegates to support him.
We have several aspirants, but we have one candidate in Atiku Abubakar. With what we have seen here, I am so happy that Cross River is Atiku and Atiku is Cross River.
Elsewhere in the south, another presidential aspirant under the platform of the PDP and Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, heads to Awka, the Anambra State capital, to woo party delegates. After pleasantries and remarks by some of his hosts, Governor Mohammed, while making a case for his candidature, admits that he is sensitive to the region's agitations and will be willing to support anyone who emerges as the party's candidate.
I am not unaware of the sensibilities, the feelings of the people from the south, especially from the southeast, on zoning and rotation. I am not those people who disregard and then deepen exclusion, a sense of disillusionment. But you have to look at all the issues in context. As I stand before you, I may not be the most eminently qualified. I am aware one of your most auspicious sons is Rami. That is going to be. And if he emerges, I will support him. I always believe in supporting each other. But if I emerge, I will make sure all this monster of division, of rancor, of sectionalism is put to the background. Because we need to stabilize, begin to deepen merit.
With the contest now thrown open by the party's leadership, the political tempo is apparently building up, and it is now in the hands of these PDP party delegates across the states to choose who can best represent their interest and that of the nation.
In part two, after the break, more on consultations by presidential aspirants, plus accountability group Saraki sues federal government over a 1.48 trillion naira refinery maintenance cost. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. It's pleasant news as bandits release another passenger in the Kaduna train attack of March 28, this time a pregnant woman. This brings to 2 the number of hostages that have been freed so far. Northern Governors Forum condemned killing of Deborah Samuel in Sokoto State, warns against further acts of violence. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo asked Nigerians to vote in the interest of the children in the 2023 general election as he visits Jigawa State to meet with the party's delegates. And after a long opposition to the move, Sweden changes gear, joins Finland to declare its interest to be part of NATO. Staying with the PDP presidential aspirants, former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki says he has the experience and capacity to fix Nigeria's challenges if given the opportunity to lead the country. Dr. Saraki was speaking in Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, when he met with party delegates ahead of the PDP presidential primaries. He said his experience in the private sector, being a 2-term governor and president of the Senate, places him ahead of other aspirants jostling for the PDP's presidential ticket.
The former Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, is greeted by supporters as he makes his entry into the PDP Secretariat, where leaders and delegates to the party's presidential primaries converge. Shortly after his arrival, former Governor Ibrahim Idris steps in. Also in attendance is the former governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fatai Ahmed, former national chairman of the PDP, Kawu Baraji, and the former governor of Kogi State, Captain Idris Wada.
My national delegates.
In seeking delegates' votes, Senator Saraki promises to boost the economy and create jobs by promoting policies that would attract investors into the country when he becomes president.
People talk about how do we move this country forward. A country that all the money is going towards servicing of loan cannot develop. It cannot develop. That was why when I was Senate President, these loans I will ask, what is this one for? This was my problem. But I can assure you, with your support, when I become president, we will not be taking loans for consumables. We will bring in investment.
Dr. Saraki's presidential aspiration is supported by party leaders in the state who plead with the delegates to vote for him.
It is a known fact you have all the prerequisites required to be the president of this country. But there is something very important that we must have to know and which you have to know. Leadership is ordained by Almighty Allah, and He gives to whoever He wishes. We wish you all the best, and we'll do our best when it is time.
From Kogi, Dr. Bukola Saraki continues his quest to become PDP's flag bearer for the 2023 presidential election, with more consultations with delegates across the states.
Meanwhile, for Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, who is hoping to fly the APC ticket in next year's election, his aspiration just got the backing of the party's women in Katsina State. Other supporters drawn from several groups and associations across the 34 local government areas of Katsina converged on the Katsina Local Government Service Commission headquarters before finally taking to the streets in the state capital. In a show of solidarity on the streets of Katsina, the women say it's time to give the young people, which Governor Bello represents, a chance to rule the country. Meanwhile, the APC is continuing its screening of governorship, senatorial and House of Representatives aspirants ahead of the party's primary elections for elective offices. Well, aspirants for the various elected positions were seen arriving the screening venue in Abuja for the exercise, which started on Saturday, May 14. Well, the panels will be screening 145 governorship aspirants, 351 senatorial aspirants, and 1,197 aspirants for the House of Representatives. Away from politics, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP is alleging that 1.4 trillion naira spent on maintaining the nation's 4 refineries between the years 2015 and 2020 may have been mismanaged or stolen, and is now suing the federal government over the matter. The suit by the rights group accuses the Buhari administration of failing to probe the allegation of misappropriation of the fund and ensuring that those responsible are compelled to give account, an action the group wants the court to enforce. In a statement, SERAP maintains that ensuring justice and accountability in the spending of public funds on Nigeria's refineries would improve the availability of petrol and provide better life for the people. At the security, the Chief of Naval Staff, Awal Gambo, is concerned over the slow wheel of justice in tackling maritime crimes, for which he is proposing a necessary legal framework to lessen the burden on the Nigerian Navy. He made the proposal in Calabar, the crossover state capital, while delivering a lecture on his vision to participants of the Naval Warfare Course 6 at the Naval War College. Now, the Navy boss says while the force has done its bit in the arrest and prosecution of criminals and their vessels, these elements continue to exploit gaps in the nation's judicial system.
Loopholes in the nation's judicial process, such as endless trial periods for maritime crimes, continued to be exploited by criminals. This led to the prolonged litigations and several abandoned vessels across Nigerian Navy bases. The effect of these lengthy trial processes to the Nigerian Navy is evident in instances where, out of the 488 vessels arrested between 2015 till date, 234 were handed over to prosecuting agencies, yet only 52 have been successfully prosecuted, leaving a balance of 202 still in the Nigerian Navy custody. Beyond the logistics and manpower committed to this process, the Nigerian Navy expends enormous resources to preserve and keep over 100 detained vessels afloat. Who pays for it? Due to this difficult operating environment, there is need for the Nigerian Navy to streamline her structure and operations in line with total spectrum maritime strategy, as well as the Chief of the Naval Staff vision and mission. An appropriate legal framework would be necessary for expeditious prosecution of maritime crimes in order to dissuade criminals and lessen burden on the Nigerian Navy for custody of arrested vessels.
A new fellowship program tagged the Innocent Chukwuma Social Impact Chair and Fellowship has been inaugurated at the Sustainability Center of the Lagos Business School. The initiative, which is funded by the Forward Foundation, is a legacy project in honor of the late Innocent Chukwuma, who many say left indelible marks in social impact works, youth empowerment, reforms in criminal justice system, and more. Our correspondent, Uli Phillips, has this report.
And one more time, the round of applause for Forward Foundation. The gathering at this event would still be appropriate if it is passed as a solemn or remembrance ceremony. But for the organizers and the family involved here, it's been elevated to a more enduring and endearing cause.
It's not like money that you count, but we want to be able to...
In honor of a man and his works, a new project is inaugurated at the Lagos Business School Sustainability Center. It's the Innocent Chukwuma Social Impact Chair and Fellowship.
We are celebrating humility, wisdom, vision, service. We are celebrating somebody who believed in all this, who believed in a better Nigeria.
For the man, Innocent Chukwuma, whose works and active participation in various civil society organizations, right up to the position as the immediate past regional director of Ford Foundation, the Innocent Chukwuma Social Impact Chair and Fellowship, backed by the Ford Foundation, is to facilitate the emergence and development of the next generation of young social impact pioneers.
That's what Innocent represented, that by working together, by being one, that we can make an amazing difference.
As part of the day's activity, an autobiography, which he wanted to write himself, is also on the way. This chair and fellowship is first going to be in perpetuity and is powered with $1 million from Ford Foundation.
Say I, put your name.
For starters, 10 young Nigerians in various fields of impact have been inducted as the ICSICF.
On behalf of my children, I would like to thank every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. On behalf of the Chukwuma and Efa families, thank you so very much for keeping Innocent alive.
For the next 6 months, they will undertake at the LBS bespoke customized training in capacity building, knowledge sharing, accelerator and mentorship tailored to the need of their select sector.
The chair is not designed to be a professorial chair, but a program chair that would design fellowships, capacity building, sub-grants, interventions that support social innovators, social entrepreneurs, and impact drivers.
The fellowship is being launched as a legacy initiative in honor of Innocent Chukwuma. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, seizes large amounts of tramadol in different parts of the country. Join us again. Welcome back. Former Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, has apologized to Nigerian students for the prolonged industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. According to Mr. Nwajuba, the impasse is avoidable and needs the understanding of the university lecturers. He pleads with them to take the option of dialogue rather than going on strikes. Well, the former minister was speaking on our political program, Politics Today.
Truly speaking, I do apologize to Nigerian students. I apologize to them because as their minister, I would take responsibility. But I also, on behalf of the federal government, also would more or less say, please understand what the issues are. I have 2 children. Well, all my 4 children have passed through Nigerian universities. I still have 2 who are at home now eating food because they're all in public universities. I've always had public university. I come from a public university experience. Imo State University, Unilag, Unijos, all are public universities. So I don't have any problem with public universities. But you see, in the last 16 years, in the last 20 years, we've had nearly 16 strikes. So my position has not been, please, ASUU is talking rubbish. No, this is not true. ASUU has a case. They are not making even a case for themselves alone. ASUU is making a case for the entire university system. So I know how it hurts parents. So I say sorry. But the truth is that we think ASUU may need to consider leaving the option of strike and work with government. The issues are not things that must be done in 1 hour. Needs assessment is an ongoing matter. End allowance is an ongoing matter. Whether you use a platform called IPs or you use UTAS is of no, let's just pay you.
With the renewed battle of the NDLEA to curb drug use and abuse nationwide, the agency says its officers have seized a total of 203,879 tablets of various pharmaceutical, opioids and illicit substances in raids across Abia, Kaduna, Yobe and Kogi states. A breakdown shows the arrest of a female passenger on board Royal Air Maroc from Lagos to Casablanca en route to Milan, Italy, with 1,000 tablets of tramadol hid in food items. And barely 5 days after the arrest at the international airport, a freight agent, a certain Karim Ibrahim, was arrested at Sako cargo shed attempting to export food items with blocks of cannabis weighing 6.65 kilograms and 24 grams of ecstasy heading to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. In Abia, 3 trucks loaded with drugs from Lagos to Onitsha were intercepted after a professional search, and 67,100 tablets and capsules of tramadol and 12,650 ampules of pentoxazoline, morphine and dopamine were also recovered. The NDLEA has also reported the arrest of fake NDLEA officers in Zamfara, Kebbi and Bauchi states. According to the agency, the syndicate specializes in issuing fake NDLEA employment letters and identity cards to unsuspecting members of the public for the sum of 400,000 naira per person. Let's head to Yobe State, where the state government says it's working tirelessly to train more healthcare workers that will man the newly constructed rehabilitated 138 healthcare centers across the 178 wards of the state. In this report, Channels Television examines the multifaceted approach aimed at providing both infrastructure and manpower needs across the 17 local government councils.
Over the years, access to healthcare facilities, especially for residents of a Lake Chad area, coupled with insecurity, has resulted in loss of lives. In Nigeria, according to the 2018 Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey, the rate of under-5 mortality is 132 deaths per 1,000 live births, while the infant mortality rate is 67 deaths per 1,000 live births. But in Yobe State, Governor Mai Malabuni is marching words with actions by changing the narrative through construction and rehabilitation of healthcare centers across the 178 wards of his state.
One very laudable thing that was achieved in this was the fact that there are certain communities where they didn't have these primary healthcare centers, but all of a sudden they now had a standard primary healthcare center that has about 13 rooms, together with the commensurate the equipment that were also needed for them to, provide services.
To provide manpower in these centers, apart from the training of medical students both within and outside the state, the government trained 481 nurses, midwives and community health workers that have been posted to rural communities.
These community midwives are middle cadre midwives who are trained in the college 2 years program, and they are sourced from the rural community. The mandate is for them to go and man the primary healthcare centers or comprehensive center in their ward among the 178 political wards.
Right from the health training institutions, when you talk of doctors, we have the medical school, which already the government has invested so much in, even to the level of the clinical side. All we are waiting for is just for accreditation to happen for the clinical.
With the ongoing construction of the largest child and maternity hospital in the north nearing completion, the residents believe the challenge of access to health care would soon be a thing of the past in the state.
Still talking health, with the resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic in various parts of the world, including China, where it started in late 2019, the best preventive measure for a country like Nigeria is to laser focus on vaccinating as many of its people as quickly as possible. That's according to the chairman of the nation's Committee of Experts on COVID-19, Professor Oyewale Tomori. Professor Tomori told Channels Television's Ladia Kiridulwale on our current affairs program Newsnight that given the almost complete disregard and absence of compliance with other COVID-19 prevention protocols, vaccination, which prevents hospitalizations and deaths, is the best option.
We know we can't maintain testing. Let's not deceive ourselves. But I think we can get our people to get vaccinated. And I'll tell you why I go for vaccination as the best option. In countries where there have been good vaccinations, people may get infected, but they don't get hospitalized, they don't die. The majority of the people who get vaccinated, have mild infection, they are not hospitalized, and this is, so if this is going to be with us, whether we like it or not, our best bet is to go back to vaccination. Get your people vaccinated. The leeway that the European countries are having is based on the fact that they vaccinated their people. And you know the interesting thing about this disease, the people who are vaccinated, we that are not vaccinated are creating the variant that is knocking out their vaccination. So in the parts of the world where we have had problems with vaccination, and that's where we are creating the variants that is knocking out the vaccination that has been done. So the world has to balance itself and come together so we can help each other. Because if there are no variants, those who have been vaccinated will be protected. So my own best bet for us is go back to vaccination. Get our people vaccinated. So long as this virus is still going to be with us, for whatever is reason, our safest defense is not in the test, which helps in one way. Our safest defense is in the vaccination. So I will focus on vaccination. Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. Even if the virus is around, we can then, have a little bit of it being spread. And I was saying that the ability of the Europe to relax is because of that backlog of that vaccination level that they reach. So they can take a little bit of gamble. But we can't dare to do that.
For the full interview with Professor Tomori, do watch Newsnight tomorrow, Monday, May 16th at 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. Lagos Island residents are calling on the state government to kindly intervene and check the menace of flooding within their area. They claim a blockade at the land reclamation site in Ilubirin has impacted the flow of their drains and has resulted in stagnant water on their streets. Our correspondent, Chris Lems, tells us more.
Annual rainfall in Lagos is estimated at over 1,780 millimeters. The impact usually affects the low-lying areas, often leading to flooding. Lagos Island, densely populated, is one of such areas bearing the brunt of the rainfall, with streets around Idumagbo, Jankara, Ojogiwa, among others, retaining the water for months. To visit these areas, one must be armed with rain boots and be ready to wade through the dark, smelly, stagnant water. And if you're unlucky to come in contact with the water, you may need to visit the doctor, says one of the traders in the Jankara business area.
It's very terrible. It will even cause an epidemic. The health hazard is unquantifiable. When you stay in that environment, the stench coming from that water is nothing to write home about.
There are a number of schools in the domain, and children are also exposed to the danger that lurks within the water, which has refused to go away. With the foundation of houses around this area soaking up water daily, a greater danger looms.
There is no way the children can enter the school without passing the flooded area. Second, there is a mosque. Even police station is right up.
The residents and business owners say they're tired of what seems like a neglect by the Lagos state government. Bearing placards, they march to where they claim is the source of the problem, the land reclamation site at Ilubirin. The protesters call on the state government to prevail on the developers to remove the blockage to their drainage.
This drainage channel they do before, the pipe was 11 in number, 11 big one. But now you can see that this pipe now is 3. Is 3 in number, and the water is not moving as expected. So please, let the government of Lagos State come to our aid.
The state government, on its part, acknowledges the peculiarity of the area and says it has mapped out plans to tackle the challenges.
The plan is to have a permanent pumping station with a higher capacity
pump, more of industrial pump of 3,000 meter cube per second. We only need one. But because of the sensitivity of that area, we are getting 3.
Upon our visit again to the spot allegedly affecting the flow of water, a channel has been opened up. The special advisor on drains in Lagos State reiterates the state government's position to end the siege.
Right now, people doing construction here cannot have access to they don't have another gate, they're doing one. So they need to get a permit from the Ministry of Works, Federal Ministry of Works, to be able to open that gate. Once they open it, they now have an access. We'll then open this place permanently.
Every raindrop sends shivers down the spines of these Lagos Island residents, and their condition might be a precursor to a dire situation if appropriate measures are not taken to contain this tide. Chris Elems, Channels Television News.
One of the leading producers of bathroom cleaners, Reckitt, has launched the sachet version of Harpic, one of its most popular brands. The marketing director of Reckitt Sub-Saharan Africa, Tanzim Rezwan, says the company is using the unveiling of the product to promote access to clean toilets and stop open defecation in Nigeria.
Reckitt, maker of Harpic toilet cleaner, is once again out to promote access to hygiene restrooms in Lagos as it kicks off its open defecation-free campaign and launch of Harpic sachet at an affordable price.
Harpic is 10 times better, kills 99.9% of germs. It's not just anyhow chemical that you first pour in your toilet and you run away. From the color, you will know that yes, it's quality.
Reckitt, which has been in existence for 100 years, has brought together Lagos State environmental health officers, traffic management officials, students, product volunteers, and other stakeholders to the LCCI conference hall to reiterate that it is more than ready to eradicate open defecation.
Our purpose is to provide safe, hygienically clean toilets, which we have been doing for the last 100 years. In continuation of our commitment in the fight to end open defecation, Harpic is introducing a new Harpic sachet at an affordable cost of only 30 naira to help Nigerians, consumers, to get access to hygienically clean toilets and also be an enabler of change in the fight for improved sanitation for all Nigerians.
The Lagos State government receives the company's support with open arms and a commitment to curbing the menace.
This launch of the pocket-friendly sachet, Harpic toilet cleaner, together with sensitization campaign on open defecation at the local level, are welcome strategies towards achieving a cleaner, safer toilet facilities for home, schools, and other public places.
Meanwhile, the new Harpic sachet is designed to cater to the needs of consumers.
Our vision is to ensure that every Nigerian have access to good, hygienically clean toilets. And that's why we're launching this sachet. And then owing to, economic situation, we're launching this sachet at the price of 30 naira so that everybody can have access. And that's the vision for the brand.
With the launch of Harpic sachet toilet cleaner, the company says it's committed to playing its part to ensure Nigeria achieves open defecation-free status by 2025.
And now to the arts. When art is a big deal is the theme for the maiden exhibition of the Coronation Art Gallery in Lagos. Vintage African pieces loaned from the personal collection of banker and art connoisseur Mr. Aibuje Mokwede were revealed during the gallery's opening and curated viewing experience in Lagos. We see this rare collection on Art Review tonight.
The exclusive opening of the Coronation Art Gallery in Lagos attracts a number of art lovers anxious to see the body of works from the private collection of banker, investor and art patron Mr. Aibuje Mokwede in an exhibition themed When Art is a Big Deal.
In every major building that they have a gallery space where they exhibit art. This is one of the largest, and they use this space to display the collections of their customers, their stakeholders like me. So I'm just the first person whose works are being viewed at the Coronation Art Gallery. There were some of the greatest collectors of art here today, and a number of them, on seeing this, agreed with Coronation and me that they would be next, so to speak.
This rich collection has works created by some of the continent's finest, which tallies with the vision of the Coronation Art Gallery, for people to be impacted by rare pieces that capture Africa's culture, creativity, richness, and talent.
The vision of Coronation is a continent transformed. Through our products and solutions, we are transforming the African continent, one product and one innovation at a time. And we are doing the same thing for the artistic community. We are creating a platform through which they can share and showcase their innovative and creative works, and we can promote innovation and creativity throughout the entire continent.
The gallery intends to share works of collectors from time to time, both virtually and physically, in order to motivate, enlighten, and entertain viewers with amazing works of art that tell the African story, in order to change the perception of how the continent is viewed.
Sweden has announced plans to join NATO, but not to have bases in the country. The decision, approved by the ruling Social Democratic Party, is for Sweden's security, and so says its Prime Minister. Sweden's announcement comes hours after the Finnish government also announced it will be submitting its bid to join the military alliance. US President Joe Biden says he is receiving regular updates on the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York, in which 10 people were killed on Saturday. He made the comment at a ceremony to honor fallen police officers in Washington, D.C. The president's comments come as New York authorities say they are investigating how the 18-year-old suspect was able to shoot 10 people to death in an African-American neighborhood grocery store. Peyton Gendron surrendered to the police on Saturday and has been arraigned. The Nigeria Football Federation has announced the appointment of Portuguese Jose Peseiro as the new head coach of the Super Eagles. Peseiro is expected to lead the national team for the first time when the three-time African champions will play Mexico and Ecuador in international friendlies in the United States. The 62-year-old has previously coached Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. In the Nigeria Professional Football League, Plateau United have beaten Wiki Tourists to close the gap on leaders Rivers United to 4 points. Sikiralimi scored the only goal as Remos Stars defeated Rangers to stay third on the table. Kwara United thrashed Shooting Stars, while MFM edged Kano Pillars to sustain their push for survival. Katsina United turned back Nasarawa United by an odd goal. In the English Premier League, Manchester City FC came back from 2 goals down for the first time under Pep Guardiola to earn a point at West Ham United, and that means victory over Aston Villa on the final day of the season will see them crowned English champions. Harry Kane's penalty saw off Burnley as Tottenham moved aboard Arsenal into 4th place. Pascal Struijk headed an injury-time equaliser to keep alive Leeds United's hopes of survival after a home draw with Brighton and Hove Albion. Jamie Vardy scored twice as Leicester thrashed relegated Watford. Everton's survival hopes remain in the balance after Brentford came twice from behind to claim all 3 points at Goodison Park. And thousands of fans celebrated Bayern Munich's 10th consecutive Bundesliga title win in Munich. The Bavarian Giants have earned 32 championship wins along with 20 cup victories and 6 Champions League triumphs. This is the first time since 2019 the celebration will take place owing to COVID-19 restrictions. And the main news again. Another passenger in the Kaduna train attack of March the 28th, a pregnant woman has been released by her abductors, bringing the number of hostages that have so far been freed to 2. Also today, the Northern Governors Forum condemned the killing of Deborah Samuel in Sokoto State and warned against further acts of violence. And that's the news at 10. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Many thanks for watching and have a good night.